Alan here, TheUrbanArcade, and this is my Mortal Kombat Trilogy Random Stories. Wow, that was a mouthful. But so I'm going to begin like this. I've been playing Mortal Kombat 1, 2 and 3 and enjoying 1 and 2 the most, but Mortal Kombat was starting to lose it for me. The PlayStation 1 had changed everything, as I've mentioned in videos before. Now I was thinking, how can a fighting game work on this console? I have Mortal Kombat 3 and Trilogy, I do own them on disc. So playing them now, they do seem good and there was a charm about them, but back then I thought, what is there to expect? What can they do? Add more characters, add more fatalities, and I didn't like Mortal Kombat 3 too much. I tried it and thought, who the fuck are these guys? Literally, I put the game on and thought, where's Scorpion? I think that was what everyone thought at first. I remember seeing a cop, Sub-Zero without a mask, and I played it on the Sega Mega Drive first. Yeah, it was very sketchy, very grey, and it wasn't as good. The sound was terrible. Well, for me anyway, I thought Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 sounded a lot better. And this seemed very futuristic. I know that sounds weird, but to me it did. It seemed like completely different. But it started to develop a slight charm, because of its weirdness I guess. It seemed like it was more on Earth. And I had to play this game on a black and white television, as I was moving house at the time and I borrowed it from a friend. It was pretty much all I had to do at the time, so I played it a lot. I completed it with quite a few characters too at the time. So I started getting used to Mortal Kombat 3. And then the new consoles were just around the corner. So I played Mortal Kombat 3 on the PlayStation, and serious, it seemed like the arcade. Had that sound, that crisp look, it was fast. It seemed so much nicer. It was what I was missing from my Mortal Kombat experience. You know how you always could see and realise that you were playing a scaled down version. It didn't feel like that this time, although I now know a lot more than I did then. But other than that, it seemed very quick. It just had that look about it that I loved. And I thought, well, it would be great if they had Mortal Kombat 1, 2 and 3 like this, you know. It would be fast, it would be crisp, I'd have an arcade machine in my hands, you know, and that's all I kept thinking about at the time. But yeah, it didn't, and the characters were on it. I must say, I didn't really like any of them. I didn't care too much for secrets. There was too many moves, too many combos. It done my head in, to say the least. And then I finally got a PlayStation 1 and Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Seriously, I didn't know what to say. I thought it was Mortal Kombat 1, 2 and 3 together. I mean literally all 3 games in one collection. I was wrong about that, but it didn't stop me wanting to see what was on this game. I was so excited. Now, I'm going to talk about a few things I used to love on this game and do pretty much all the time. I always wished you could do a fatality with one button. Now, that would have been quite sweet, considering there were so many. On this, if you hold L1, L2, R1 and R2 and up, you'll see that question mark there. You can turn one button fatalities on. Each button does something else. And what the fuck? Look at these characters. Look how many there are. Oh my god. If you press up and start, you can select the next stage you fight on. And press select on a select few characters. Well, you'll get to play as the older versions of the same characters. And now I thought that was so unique. That was such a good idea. And I didn't know what to expect. You could even play as the bosses on this game. Now I always wanted to be Goro and just slap people up on it all day. And look at the ladders. You know, there was different ones for different levels, and I was crap at this game. So it was alright though. If I was Goro, I could kick anyone's ass. Now I couldn't wait to see if I could do the original fatalities. What stage fatalities were there? Were there fatalities? What was there on this game? It was so mysterious. I never knew much about it. I knew there was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, but this was completely different. So I went in search to find out. And what did I find? The pit stage. The only thing that pissed me off was the music was changed. A lot of the music was changed around, and the clouds were different, as you can see there. But that didn't bother me too much. I just wished it had the original music. I was thinking, why can't it at least have that? And the moon's in a different location. Would you see anything fly past it? No. I'll tell you what. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Well, it was good. It was nice that they could do combos as well. Literally, the old characters could do combos, and their moves were slightly different. I wonder, could they do the same fatalities? To an extent, yeah. But everything was changed. And you had so many characters to go through, learning different moves that they added. Yeah, they added a lot more different moves. I found that extremely funny that you could do the pit fatality, and I like the way they went in the spikes. And where's that head that used to be there? Some bad editing. I could have done better with paint myself. Well, now knowing the original pit fatalities there, I'm going to look for everything in this game. Now I want to see Easter eggs and secrets. Oh my god, you get to fight at the pit bottom where you fought Reptile. Now that was amazing, considering you never got to see it much, because whenever you did fight Reptile it wasn't for long and you'd get your ass kicked quickly. And look at this, you could do the old fatalities. Oh my god, they're so strange. It looks a bit weird, yeah, but that was really cool. I then went in search to see what else I could do, what other stages there were. One of my favourites being the Deadpool fatality. I always loved that, probably one of the best stage fatalities, and you could do it on this. I mean, I didn't expect it, but yeah, you could do it. And they even did that, oh what? As well, so you could do that with a few characters. But on Pit 2, no, you couldn't do that fatality. I tried it and I found out it would have been too difficult to get them to do the animations for every single person, so that is a shame. And Noob Saibot was so exploited in this game, and you had a new fatality called Brutality where you'd kick the absolute living bananas out of people so they'd have 3 skulls and 10 hands land at the same time. I found that hilarious. One thing I thought at the time is, where's Daniel Pesina? Johnny Cage, the real Johnny Cage. Oh, I'll never be happy about that. Oh, you can play as Rain, finally. I did remember him in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And also the PlayStation 1 at this time was bringing out 3D fighting games. I was getting used to them, sure, seeing as I did have Tekken as well. But it was kind of strange, it was like these old 2D games were finished. It felt like that to me. It was really scary. The PlayStation had come out and dominated everything. This is what games were made on now. Forget the Sega Mega Drive, forget the arcades, it was like they were dying. But this game was bloody, carnage, and it sort of brought that back, for me anyway, so I loved it for that reason. It was scatty, crazy, full of content, and it was the sole reason nearly every one of my friends wanted to play this with me. They thought, wow, there's so much you can do on this, and saw that the fatalities were done with one button. So people that weren't good with Mortal Kombat or button combinations could do something. You can even use automatic combos, so even noobs could play this, and they would love it too. They'd run up to you thinking they were the best. So that's one thing I loved about it. The load times were a bit of a bitch for a Mortal Kombat game anyway, but I got used to them in the end. I played this I think more than nearly all of them, because I did have it as a home edition. But it still had that cheapness. The AI was a bitch and it used to piss me off sometimes, and I think it did with everyone. When I play it now, you know, I can sort of make peace with that, but now it reminds me of one of them Mortal Kombat Mugen games, you know, that people make and create characters for. It was like that, but this was the official version of that. Like, they had so many ideas, they thought, let's just fry it all together. But I could see they put a few things in this that they wanted to put in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I'm sure they did anyway. Like the portal stage. Did you ever see there were some added extras? And where the fuck are they going? Look at this. Why does that happen? I never noticed it before. Maybe it's just this disc. I do have 2 copies of it. And there were some different moves added. Look at that. I thought that was amazing. But on the portal stage, look at this. If you go to either side of the stage, and she's not going to let me, but if you do, you see that? Like these balconies there? And that was what was originally meant to be on these stages, but they took them out last minute. Maybe due to graphical limitations. And I used to fly about trying all kinds of different moves. The ones that they added. I mean, look at this. There was so much to explore. So many different ways to combo. So it was fun, it was scatty, but you did have to be very technical to play this and be good at it. And to this day, I'm still crap. So I'm sorry about that. But I did want to see what kind of characters there were, what secret characters there were. I found Chameleon later on, which I didn't add to this video by the way, so I'm sorry about that. But I used to love playing as Reptile. There were some characters you could be really cheap with, but playing on this game I started getting really good. As a kid anyway, the aggressor bar was quite good. You could go insane and pull off some good chained combos, and you felt like the man when you did it as well. I thought, what else could they add? If they make another Mortal Kombat, what are they going to do? A Mortal Kombat 4 with a load of crazy stuff? Well, not really. This one sort of cleaned up things, added stuff, added more to the mix, more that you could do. And I always notice now that a lot of people don't mention it. Maybe because they find it like a hacked up version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. But this is all I had at the time. This was lots for me, this was big. I mean, when I first pulled off Reptile's fatality, the decap fatality, which was my favourite from all of the Mortal Kombats. I mean, look at it on this, it's so scatty, it knows it doesn't take itself too seriously. He still screams as he takes his torso away. I mean, come on, that's just insane. But seriously, my main anger with this game was Daniel Pesina. I know why they didn't use him in this game now, but back then I was so annoyed by it. He is Johnny Cage to me, and always will be. So when playing these games, I was thinking of uppercutting people's heads off, and the first thing I thought of is I'm going to play as Johnny Cage. And when I noticed he wasn't on it, I was really upset. I mean, he was even Scorpion, Sub-Zero and Reptile. And where was he? He just had that look that made him feel Mortal Kombat, if you know what I mean. Whenever you saw him, he was like, yeah, that's Mortal Kombat. And you could play as the bosses. Oh my god, I loved that. Sure, they were so over the top, so overpowered. I mean, you could exploit anyone with this. It wasn't fun to play with them against a friend, but versus the computer when it was getting all cheap on you, it was really good. And where the hell is he going again? Oh my god. Yeah, anyway, it was good that you could actually play as all the characters that kicked your ass before, and now you could try it on the cheap AI. I used to do this all the time when it started getting that bullshit mode where you couldn't hit them or do anything, or they could predict what you were going to do. Such fun memories. Having trouble with Shao Kahn? Seriously, be Noob Saibot and follow this pattern. You can get at least 2 combos on him each time. It wasn't a good thing to do when you was playing against friends to play as this character, because there was a few that you could literally exploit the game with. But against the AI, it was forgivable. I thought so anyway, because the AI didn't give a damn about you. I weren't too pleased with the endings, sure, but then this game did have a lot you could do afterwards, and I loved the amount of fatalities that there were. They did feel a little cheap though, some of them. There were some good ones. I didn't really like the animalities though. I thought they were very sketchy, very rushed. It felt like that for me, but this is my favourite fatality of all time. This was just insane. I didn't expect to see something like that. And this one as well, always sticks in my memory, scaring him till his ghost runs away. That's classic. Things like this, nah, give it up. This was probably the only animality I did like, and there were some friendships on this game that really made me laugh. I mean, look at this one with Melina. That's just perfect. And in saying that, you'd got to see the cast of characters scroll down, which was nice seeing them all there so you could compare them together and see who played who. And other than that, a successful game for me. On the PlayStation 1, a console where 3D games dominated, this come out and made me happy. It's why I still play it every now and again to this day. It's a Mortal Kombat that I can't take too seriously and don't think anyone else did. Now, there were some things I could have spoke about on this game, on this video in particular, but I would have been here for years. There's so much on this game. So there were some things that really stuck out in my mind when I played this, and I thought I wanted to share them with you. Because it's one of them things, I don't want to review it, I don't want to go to all the little details of who made it, why they made it. I want to say the things that caught my eye, you know, that made me give this game attention, and it's why it's still around today in my books as a classic, and I do love it. Back then it gave me that feel that the other Mortal Kombat games did. Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, they were the classics for me. Mortal Kombat 3 I didn't like so much. So this game kind of cleaned it up for me, made me happier, adding Scorpion there and other things you could do. I think it had to add all of that stuff, otherwise it wouldn't have been able to compete with the more modern games at the time. And I noticed that a lot of people don't mention it up in there with the Mortal Kombat universe, but again, it is a classic. I'll even put it to Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, and I always say Mortal Kombat Trilogy afterwards, because it is one of my favourite Mortal Kombat games. Now, I play them all to this day. I play every version of them, and have played most that exist, even the Mugens. And this one seems more cleaner than them, so I do like it in that sense. It's a shame it was never re-released in any other way apart from being on this and a few other home consoles, but I always thought it deserved something better. It'd be nice one day if someone could port it to MAME so it played like the arcade version of Mortal Kombat. That'd be nice. And I still play the newer Mortal Kombat games today, and some of them sort of take from what that game had, how much there was in it and how much content there was. So, this is Alan, the Urban Arcade. I hope you enjoyed the video. See ya.